Chapter 18, Gurning Champion. Alfie must have passed out. I think because Alfie was in such great pain, he passed out. Sometimes when people are in a lot of pain, they'll faint, they'll pass out. His eyes were closed. Perhaps this was a dream. He opened his eyes. At first, all he could see were patterns, colors and shapes. After a few moments, Alfie realized he was staring at the ceiling. These colors and shapes were in fact sprays of blood. Some looked very fresh, still wet and glistening, so the one that looks very fresh should be his own blood. Some looked brown and flaky, like they had dried there years before. This was no dream. Alfie realized he was still lying on the dentist's antique chair. He must have been lying there quite a while, and his back was hot and clammy with sweat. Behind him, somewhere out of view, that means he can't see, he could hear that sing-song voice again. This time it was counting. So this sing-song voice belongs to Miss Root, right? 18, 19, 20. What was she counting? With each number, he heard something small and solid, like a stone, being dropped into a metal dish. 21! The final number was spoken with a particularly flourish. Again, there was a clinking sound of something hitting metal. 21 what? Thought Alfie. He could feel that there was something different about himself, but he couldn't quite work out what. He started with his toes, so he started to check his toes. Is it his toes there's something wrong? He wiggled them. From there, he moved up his body. Ankles, nothing wrong. Knees, nothing wrong. Hands, nothing wrong. Elbows, nothing wrong. Shoulders, nothing wrong. Neck, nothing wrong. Then he moved his tongue around his mouth. Somehow it felt much larger now. Smooth too. Alfie traced his tongue into the furthest corners of his mouth. He could swear he could feel holes, so he could feel holes in his mouth. Great big holes that seemed the size of caves. It was then that Alfie realized he had no teeth. The metal cuffs, those that locked his ankles and feet, that had been holding his ankles and wrists, had retracted, that means had moved back into the seat. The boy leaped up and banged his head on the huge hot lamp that had been hovering, that means floating over his mouth earlier. Swinging his legs round, he jumped to the floor. On the trolley sat a dirty old cracked mirror. Okay? He grabbed it and held it up to his face. Alfie was sure the dentist was behind him, but she was nowhere to be seen in the mirror's reflection. So the dentist, Miss Root, was behind Alfie, but he couldn't see Miss Root inside the mirror. So I think Miss Root is a ghost or something, I don't know. Opening his mouth slowly, he could see only darkness inside. His gums were bare and swollen. So when your gums are very pain, it becomes swollen. The only future for him now, so the only thing that he can do in the future, he found himself thinking, was that of a gurning champion. So he can only be a gurning champion with no teeth. He can only be a gurning champion when he grows up. Okay, what's gurning champion? Gurning is an ancient art. That means a olden days art of pulling stupid faces. Champion gurners often have no teeth, even have them remove their teeth to make their features easier to maneuver. It means they can make funny faces, okay, with no teeth. Alfie moved his face in front of the mirror. In horror, he discovered he could now easily look like a fish, a man who is sucking his own nose, an old lady who has swallowed a fly, a walnut, a frog puckering up for a snort, a puppet. Woken up now, have we? Said Miss Root brightly. From a corner of the room, she turned to face him, her huge teeth glinting, that means shining. What have you done with my teeth? Shouted Alfie. Well, that's what he tried to say, but it actually came out as, what have oof done with my teeth? I'm sorry. Alfie tried again. I'm terribly sorry, child. I didn't understand a word of that. Is something the matter? Oof, oh, yelled the boy. Oof, Rocky. I still can't understand a single word you are saying. Would you mind writing it down here for Mommy? The dentist passed him a pile of appointment cards and a pen. Alfie wrote furiously on one, angrily, furiously. What you done with my teeth? It read. The letters were large and pointed and angry. Miss Root studied it for a while, so he looked at it for a while. I think what you are trying to ask Mommy is, what have you done with my teeth? Because Alfie missed out a have, right? What you done with my teeth? He forgot to put the word have. Alfie was fuming now, that means very angry. He was sure Miss Root knew full well what he meant. This was just another of her ways to slowly torture him. Please don't use that tone with Mommy. Alfie was staring the lady right in the eyes now. She held his gaze and glared back. So Miss Root glared back. The pupils in her eyes, the pupils are the black color things in her eyes, shone black. On second look, they were blacker than coal, blacker than oil, blacker than night, blacker than the blackest black. In short, they were black. So what have I done with your teeth? Alfie nodded his head up and down, each nod more enraged, that means very angry, than the last. Fang is Miss Root's cat, was sat on top of Miss Root's trolley, and now she started hissing in short, sharp bursts as if she was laughing at him. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Not to worry, child. Mommy's kept them safe for you. All the little beauties are in here. Beauties as in Alfie's teeth. With that, she carefully lifted a little metal dish up to Alfie's ears and rattled it. Rattled, that means shake it. The noise made her face light up with joy. Alfie peered inside. There were his teeth, every last one, all sadly piled on top of each other. Admittedly, that means Alfie must admit that they didn't look at all healthy. So Alfie admits that his teeth didn't look healthy at all. The years of missing dental appointments had taken their toll. So the years of missing dental appointments had damaged all his teeth. They were all stained brown from too many sweets and fizzy drinks. However, did the dentist really need to remove every single one of them? Alfie finally realized what she had been counting. His teeth! A 12-year-old boy is meant to have around 24 teeth, but Alfie had less than that. Mr. Ertzwell, remember Mr. Ertzwell, the old dentist that tried to pull out Alfie's teeth? Mr. Ertzwell, the old dentist who died mysteriously, took one out all those years ago. And after that, one or two had fallen out. So, 12-year-old boy's teeth should look like this. Uneaten boogie, spinach stuck here, another boogie saved for later, fish finger crumbs. Wow, you're going woo! Would you mind awfully writing it down again for Mommy? Miss Root gestured once again towards the pad of appointment slips. Once more, Alfie scribbled furiously. Scribbled and write very fast. What are you going to do? He wrote. The dentist studied the piece of paper for a moment. Is that a G or a Y? So now he's asking Alfie whether this is a G or a Y. Alfie growled at her. Miss Root read the sentence out loud. What are you going to do? Mommy's got it right, hasn't she? Alfie nodded, and Miss Root furrowed her brow in thought. Furrowed, that means frown. Well, normally at the end of any appointment, I would come out with the normal dentist speech. Normal dentist spell, okay, which is speech. Come and see me in another 6 months. Don't forget to floss. Think about investing in an electric toothbrush, blah, blah, blah. But there's no need for you to do any of that, Alfie. You see, you don't have any teeth anymore, and they are never ever growing back. With that, the dentist guided the poor toothless boy out of the room before adding cheerily, that means happily, "Good day." The end.